Welcome back to Summer is Coming. I'm Tiny Grimes, joined by Neil, and we are here to play an in-person Game of Thrones. Neil, what are you bringing today?
Today I have a good old House Targaryen Fealty deck. It's, I think, fairly standard. Get Dany, get the dragons, maybe throw in Drogo, and just burn everything. It's a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite deck types to play.
I like that deck type a lot when it works out. I don't like it as much when I don't find my dragons and the pieces I need.
What have you got this time?
I've got my Stark Banner of the Rose deck. I've been liking this quite a bit lately. It is a flexible deck where it can kill the world or it can shift into more of a power grabbing mode depending on what I draw or what the board state requires.
We'll see what happens this time. How do you think that this deck matches up against Targaryen?
I think this particular matchup is going to be somewhat built on luck, and that's how I feel like it always is with Targaryen. If the Targaryen player is able to get out multiple dragons early with a Dany, and then have Wake the Dragons and Fire and Blood to be able to do tricks and bring guys back from the dead, I think the Targaryen side will usually win. If not, I feel like my deck has a pretty decent shot of either murdering your guys or just simply piling up a lot of power. But I will say, Dracarys scares the bejesus out of me. Please don't draw it.
Okay, here we go. Drawing all three in my opening hand.
I will say, this is a particular matchup. If you are playing Targ, you should pretty much always leave open the possibility you have Dracarys. So if it's between playing out the rest of your hand and leaving one card back to bluff it, if it's kneeling Fealty or for a very little usefulness and being able to leave it up for it, being able to bluff that card is really strong and terrifying for your opponent.
So this is an interesting hand. I think I'm going to keep it just because, as you can see, the cost curve is so low. But it also, because it's so low, doesn't have a whole lot of power characters. But I think that getting more cards out on the flop is more important than necessarily getting giant characters out on the flop, because you're going to draw more cards before the game even begins, see more of your deck, and get a slightly more consistent game plan that way.
I have a very interesting opening hand where I have these two power cards, which is great. This is the card that I'm most tempted to keep the hand for. And I could play either these three, which is not a terrible setup, or I could even go these three, which is full 8 gold, but it's only 3 cards either way. This deck flops 4 pretty much consistently. While these two guys are great, I'm not super excited or feel like I have to have them immediately in this matchup. I think I'm going to toss it aside and just pray that I get both of these back with more cards to flop with them. It might be a terrible decision since I'm already saying 2 of the cards I want back, and they were 2 of the cards I was going to play. It was Bran and Marjorie. So I had them both in hand, and I chucked it. I'm already a bit regretful of that decision.
So I've decided that I'm going to flop these 5 cards
5
on my left, and it is a choice between these two.
5. Come on, man.
These two, but because I'm playing this one, I feel like I can hold off on playing this one until I see if I really need that.
Okay, so remember when I said I wanted these two? Well, here they are. So that's great. I have a question for you, Neil. When you sacrifice, that cannot be saved. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe that is the case.
I'm pretty sure as well. While you figure out your flop, I will double check.
I have a really weird opening hand then. I have this card. That's a great floppable card, but you really don't want to flop that card. I can also play a dupe on this guy. You don't want to do that either. And so I have this really, really oddball hand where I'm probably going to go ahead and play them both and do all of that, not all of that, this, so I can get 4 down, just so I'm drawing up more. It's almost an identical hand that I had last time, only slightly better. So I'm happy with that. So we'll go ahead and do that. It's again another card I don't want to flop, so it's a really weird hand. But I'll go ahead and flop these 4. And I'll flop Bran with a dupe. And this is something new for Game of Thrones 2.0. You can flop dupes. We're still getting used to that. Ooh, boy. Some standing for Dany. Renown for Dany. Plenty of resources to get Dany out.
Yeah.
Are we going to see Dany, Neil?
Let's see if I can draw her.
Yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have an interesting first turn where I'm going to be able to play with that, which could be really, really good, especially with that going with it. So we need to make sure we have at least that many resources to play with.
So I, as you can see, drew into some interesting cards. So I think I know what plot I want to use. Make sure it's in this deck.
Really tough spot because I know. So I'm just going to say it because I think it's the right thing to talk about. Heads on Spikes turn 1 against the Dany deck is a very, very strong play. Because if you hit it, you have an almost insurmountable lead. They can get her back, but it's a lot of resources they have to spend to be able to do it. It takes time generally. So this is a plot that I will quite often play turn 1. I don't think I'm going to in this particular game because of what I showed you, but that's very, very tempting to do that. Instead, we're going to go with this plot to be able to play out the things we need to play this turn, which is unfortunate. Really.
So we will both noble cause. Because I have a King's Road down, I win initiative and get to choose who goes first. This is a really interesting question. I'm not sure in this case what the right choice is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. It's not as obvious as many matchups are.
Yeah, a lot of times if you're playing Baratheon or the Wall, you really want to go second so that you can react to them. But in this case, if he drops some big military stuff and keeps around enough to try and put to the sword some characters that I might play, then I think I'm going to go first.
Okay.
I think that that's the way to go. Draw 2. Okay. So we want to count our gold. So we count 5. We have an extra 2 reducer from this, which is 7. An extra 3 from this, which is 10. An extra 2 for them,
That's pretty good.
which is 12. An extra 1 from Fealty, which is 13. Do I need to play more?
What I need to do is we need another King's Road to go to 15.
I think that I do want an Illyrio's estate to go to 13 effective income.
I think it's 14.
Well, we'll soon find. Yeah, 14 effective income.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So we will pop the King's Road. Use Illyrio's estate.
That's 4.
And 1 loyalist. So that's 5. 6, 7 is Dany.
So now I'll ask you the question. You had it in your hand, right? The Dany? You didn't draw into it?
I drew into it after the flop.
After the flop. I mean, for Heads on Spikes.
Yeah, for first turn I did have it in my hand.
So we had the 1 and 7 to hit it, but I just don't think it was the right play to go for it there.
And I will also... So now my question is, which of these do I want to put down? It's tempting to get this down, but it might be overextending. I think that this is probably a better thing to be setting up for the future. So, I I think I'm going to play these two. And that gives me, I think, a decent amount of options and protection. Hopefully. So I'll put down a Plaza of Punishment. And I will do another reducer for Braided Warrior for 1.
I'm going to read this again. So there's a clause I'm looking for on this. I don't think it has it. Okay. We can talk about that later.
Go ahead.
Alright, so I get 5. Lord or Lady would be 1 less, which will be relevant. So I basically have
2 less.
7.
Yeah.
Yes, 2 less. Basically have 7. So we can do that plus that, saving some pretty good stuff. So we'll start with a dupe on Marjorie. Okay. And then I will play the steward for 1. Kneel the steward plus 2. There was a no, sorry. Kneel the steward plus 0 for the lady. Arya, I'll trigger her, dupe her up with that. We need to move him down there. And then I'll play ice on her.
Oh, man.
And then we're going to see how this shakes out. He doesn't have a bodyguard. He doesn't have a dupe. Dany's looking vulnerable. We'll see if he can make something happen so that she's not as vulnerable as
This
she was.
is a little tricky. So we will go into challenges. I'm going to go ahead and just use Fealty.
Okay. Let's have it ready.
Who knows? Who knows what that means?
Yeah, could mean anything. Okay.
So we will then do a power challenge for 6.
Okay. So the fear here for me is that he has Waking the Dragon. And he can stand Dany back up. Or not. Which is the one that stands her? It's Waking the Dragon, right? Waking stands her and goes back to hand at the end of the turn, which would cost him a lot of resources, but it would allow him to kill Marjorie, which is really terrifying. And I mean with Plaza of Punishment after he wins this challenge. I can oppose it if I want. He can also use it just to kill Bran, which is pretty damn strong, which would allow a Dracarys. So he has a lot of options here, and it's a pretty terrifying spot to be in for me. So yeah, I think I think the decision is whether I want to give him a power. I think I do, because I'll probably end up taking it. Or will I? This is an interesting one. I think I will say unopposed, give him a power. There's nothing bad that's going to happen to me because it's unopposed.
Sure. After I win a challenge, I will Plaza of Punishment on Bran, which kills him through the dupe because it is burn.
Yep. I could have pumped him before, but I want the pump for Arya. So he's going to die. So 1 goes to discard, it's the dupe, and 1 goes dead.
Then I get my unopposed. Then I get my claim of nothing. And then I will trigger Insight. As well as Renown from Drogon.
That's a pretty reasonable start for him.
We will then go ahead and do a military challenge for 3.
How many cards do you have? 5?
I have 6.
Boy, he set it pretty well. I'm gonna have to say that that's unopposed, and then I will.
I get
going to
1
claim?
for unopposed. Yep.
Okay, I'll kill the dupe of Marjorie. don't really love that. Oh, I forgot this guy's out here. Let me see if I want to kill that guy. I don't have.
Oh, I forgot that guy's out there also.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of resources. Is the problem. I think it is in my best interest to kill Marjorie, and he's killing stuff through dupes anyway, so it feels like that's the way to do it. Okay. So he's considering apparently waking the dragon, otherwise he would just say, it's your turn. Or he's considering blowing up the handmaidens, probably is more likely what he's thinking about. He's not really in a rush either. He doesn't have to do it right this moment. He can kind of feel things out.
I think we will blow up the handmaiden
Okay.
to stand Dany, and she will do an intrigue challenge.
Not a lot I can do about that. I could make it unopposed. That doesn't really gain me anything. I don't mind him getting a tiny bit of power here. I'll have to say unopposed and move along. I think that's the right call by him, because Wildfire looks pretty promising for me, and by giving up the handmaiden there, it suddenly looks a lot less promising. And being able to pull one out of my hand, get an insight, maybe pull something really useful. That was a great pull.
Yeah, that was great to
amazing.
make sure that Bran does not come back.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons.
Insight will also draw me a card.
Yeah, I'd say that's the main reason I didn't protect Bran, is I was getting him back anyway. And so I figured to let him burn the plaza on Bran, and then I'm not getting Bran back. So that's really unfortunate.
That will be the end of my challenges.
Okay. So I need to decide what I want to do here. Boy, there's a lot of things he could potentially do. Because of that, I'm thinking the first thing I need to do is force his hand by doing an intrigue and seeing if he feels like he needs to stand Dany to stop it if he has something that critical. So I'll do an intrigue with her, and we'll see where we're at. The problem is the card he used to stand Dany is probably one of the cards he wants to use for tricks. So
I will, in fact, waking the dragon Dany to stand her,
how
and
many cards do you have in hand after that?
6.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
So then she will defend.
Mm-hmm.
Any actions?
Nope.
Okay. So I win. I will draw off of Insight
Yep, and get a renown.
and get a
Pretty
renown.
nice deal.
I forgot to get her renown earlier.
I don't think you did you? Did you?
She did an intrigue on you as well,
Okay.
and a power.
Okay. At the end of the phase, she's going to have to return to his hand. So he's going to have to come up with the resources again to play her. He probably will be able to.
Yeah, it seems pretty doable.
Plus, I've got ice. I think he feels like she's going to die anyway. I might
That's
as well get a lot of value out of it.
definitely a possibility that crossed my mind.
All right, let's go ahead and military stealthing the dragon.
Okay. Any actions?
During the challenge, no, I will pass actions during the challenge.
Okay. I will Dracarys Arya.
I thought he would do that, and so I had the Hand's Judgment ready to roll for that. We'll see if he's got a Hand's Judgment to counter the Hand's Judgment. Looks
I
like
do
he
not.
does. Oh,
That was
Didn't you-
paying for my
I think
Dracarys.
you already knelt the field.
Oh,
You paid
okay.
for it. Okay, so I win the challenge.
Yep.
Reactions to winning. I do have a reaction. I will kill Dany.
Okay.
Force him to have to find a Fire and Blood. And then you have to...
I have an action.
I have unopposed. Okay, you have an action.
I will fire in blood.
Wait, when do you play that though?
Challenges,
Yeah, I don't
which
think
is
you can play
now.
it during the resolution of a challenge though. I think you have to wait until the challenges are resolved.
Okay. The challenge resolves. I now have an action.
So right, so unopposed, you have claim first.
Sure.
Okay. Now.
Now I will fire in blood to shuffle Danny back.
Okay. There you go. So unfortunately, he can play her again, but I mean, I whittled his board down. I'll be able to win the power challenge now. Take some of that power back. Go ahead and power.
One off my house for power.
Unopposed, claim, and I believe we're at a push for Dom.
Yep.
All right.
That was a very exciting first turn.
That really was. The summer play was really, really big. I thought I was going to have, another cancel coming next turn online. It really changes the complexion for me. I'm not really sure what to do now.
So, I'm not 100% sure what I'd like either. I think I might even just go for this.
Could do this, which is mainly the reason is for that. I don't love that play. I would like to have more flexibility on this particular turn.
The other idea
This
would
is
be to do
reasonable.
that.
But it's better to hold that for we know who. This is doable, but I don't think it's a great choice. I don't really love my choices here, is the bottom line. I think I will... How many cards do you have in hand? Do you have a whole bunch?
I have
right?
5.
I think this is the right answer.
I think that I want to go with this. That seems like a perfectly legitimate good play, but it just feels desperate to me. So I think I'm going to go with this. We can always do this later, because once we've maybe built up our resources more.
All right. So my theory is I might be able to hit Danny. Like, he was pretty nonchalant about Danny dying. He shuffled her into his deck immediately before the next round started. I think there's about an 80% chance he has a Danny. He drew a lot of cards. What are you up to? 5, 6?
5.
So I got a 1 in 5. That's pretty reasonable. If I hit Danny again, he's going to be hurting. All right, so first player.
I have 2 power. You
I
have 3 power. So I will be first.
Okay.
And your plot can go off.
Hands of the Gods. This is Danny. That is not Danny, but it's not
Oh,
that
that's
card.
actually pretty good.
I'll claim my power.
And I will do my when revealed to gain 4 more
Ooh,
coins.
that's pretty good. That's an easy play of Danny, that's for sure.
Let's draw.
I already forgot who you said was going first. You must have been.
I
you.
am first.
Yeah.
So now I get to count my other 3.
And hi, Danny.
I have a Rose Road. Build up my resources more.
Uh-huh. I like
If
how
I
you're
do
slow playing
this-
Danny.
Then with reducers, I still have some other reasonable plays. So I'll go ahead and play Littlefinger.
Ooh, nice. More resources, more cards.
Do his reaction
I will not
to
cancel
draw
that.
2 more. That's interesting. I will dupe my Plaza of Punishment. And I will use this reducer and pay 1 for Sir Jorah. And I think that's where I will end it with these cards in my hand.
4 cards in hand. All right. Well, that's interesting. We don't have a lot we can do here. I think this is a really good play based on what he has on the board. So we have 4. Arya is now vulnerable to Plaza Punishment. That's pretty darn terrifying, actually. So I think we have to play this card to shut it down. Question is how we do it. Do we kneel the reducer to leave a gold back? We need to think about how much we want to play other cards in our hand, or how much we want to bluff that we have other cards that we could play. Winter is Coming is not particularly amazing military-wise. He easily has 2 guys he would kill and not blink twice. I think we're shifting more into a power crabbing game. He's got plenty of weak chuds. We're not going to whittle them all down outside of a really best case scenario of a sneak attack into a Winter is Coming, into a put to the sword, into an ice or something outrageous. And we're not going to bank on that. I already have 5 power. Feels like just grab some power. So let's go ahead and leave him up. He's probably going to win an intrigue. So are we okay with that? Could do this. I don't think this does enough right now. We'll do this 4 for Caitlyn, and we'll do Caitlyn. So Caitlyn makes it so that he can't trigger Plaza Punishment. It does telegraph my plays quite a bit. That almost certainly she'll be blocking power challenges the rest of the game. But still, I think it's worth it. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
And you didn't have a Dany. I went all heads on spikes, and you didn't have her.
Nope.
Boy, that's too bad.
So I will begin my challenges with a Braided Warriors doing military, because that's what he's there to do.
Yeah, he is. And now, not having a gold back to bluff at a hand's judgment, not having a brand on the board, which we should have had from Summer, it's pretty tough. He's got the one back. He's got his fealty. He's got a dragon standing. If I'm Neil, I'm never kneeling that dragon again because I want to bluff every second that I have to kill. I think I'm going to have to say it's unopposed and kill off him. And I should have, that was a lack of foresight on my part. I knew this was going to happen. So, and in fact, I don't think I can kill him. I might need the reduction.
Oh, really?
But I'm going to kill him. So
okay.
I should have knelt
so I get
him
the one unopposed.
to bluff out of hand.
I'm going to go ahead and use Fealty.
That's not a bad idea.
So now, what other challenges do I want to do to try and really mess with some of Tiny's board?
Dracarys is so good in this matchup because boom, 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 all great, all died to Dracarys.
She doesn't. When she's participating, which is the only time you can hit with Dracarys, I can't trigger
okay, so that's a good point. She can't die. But the other two can, and it's really kind of scary.
So my question is, how aggressive versus defensive do I want to be? I definitely... So if I do that, that forces that.
That forces that, does it? Sounds like a chess player to me.
You have how many cards in hand?
I have 3 in hand. I'll even show you. See?
Yeah.
I only showed him the backside, just to be clear. A good player always taunts the other player whenever possible.
So I think what we'll do is we'll do a... We'll do an intrigue. Is that what I want to do? Sure. Yes, we'll do intrigue with Littlefinger.
So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking he'll be up to 4 power, which isn't terrifying. I don't really want to have someone get Dracarys for no reason. I'd like to be able to have these guys to turn around and attack with. By having Marjorie back, it makes all of them potentially win their challenges, depending on who blocks with. So I think we just say unopposed. I do have a card in this hand, at least one, that I don't want to lose, but we'll see if we lose it. That's a good card.
It is.
In a matchup where you're thinking you're shifting into power grabbing mode, losing a major renown character is unfortunate.
It certainly is. Do I want to do that? I think that is good for my challenges. Go ahead.
All right. So the interesting thing about Dracarys is that he can play it and I can't react with Marjorie. Because Marjorie is just a challenge action. I would have to do Marjorie first to protect anyone I was really worried about. Which puts me in kind of a pickle in that I can't really win an intrigue and a military here. So the question is, do I even need to win a military? He has 1,000,000 guys. He kills his loyalist. He already has 3 more resources. That loyalist is not really doing that much. The only thing that would do is give me an unopposed power challenge. But I could get an unopposed power challenge if I wanted anyway with Arya. And just to be clear, Plaza of Punishment is only while you're attacking. Is that correct?
No. It's just after you win a power challenge.
Really? Let's check that. After you win a power challenge. Yes, that is. Well, it changes things. He does have some things he could do where he could drop a dragon into play. I'm failing to remember the stats. I believe it has 3 strength, the power dragon. Which would mean if I just went with Arya alone, he could block it without a problem. But I could just send Caitlyn in there to win that. It's probably best for me to go something like Intrigue with Caitlyn, buff Arya, and have Arya do a power, and then that way she can't die. I will lose dominance that way, but I think I'm okay with that. Let's start there. So we're going to actually let's start with the intrigue. We'll go intrigue for 4.
Jorah will defend that.
Okay.
Just to stop the unopposed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see
I'm
what
quite
he
happy to get
pulls.
something good here. Psh, that is not impressive.
Yep, that was about the best option for me.
I'll go ahead and buff Arya. So now
Okay.
she's at 5. She can win by 2 even. I'll power stealthing the loyalist.
You can't do anything about that, so it's an unopposed power.
Unopposed and claim. And I believe, actually, I can't do a military with the informant very well.
No.
So I'll just pass and you can take Dom. And
I
that's,
take
that's
Dom.
Fine.
Let's stand.
So he pulled my Knight of Flowers, which is bad. He's had some really great pulls. So Summer was supposed to set me up with the cancels I need for this matchup. He pulled Knight of Flowers, which was the power-grabbing card. So I need to draw into something to get me some power. These cards are all great, but they are better for winning like military battles and stuff. I need something to grab a bunch of power to actually win.
I think this turn we're going to go with this.
This is reasonable for what we were talking about. I think I'm going to save that, though, and do something else. There's nothing great for me to do, though. I think I'll do this. Okay, all right. Yep.
So, who would you like to be first player?
Let's have you be first player. This gives me the option of helping defend the Plaza of Punishment better with Caitlyn, and then if he doesn't attack, knowing I can just throw her on the offensive.
Sure, I'll have your plot go off first.
I would like to kneel to Dany you're going to play.
That doesn't
It
work
doesn't
that
work
way.
like that?
No.
Boy, this plot needs an errata. All right. I think the best choice for me is going to be Littlefinger, so that, well, it's between Littlefinger to be able to push through that power challenge unopposed, possibly, and or even just push it, because he'll have Dany out. I'll have to stealth her. Then he would have 5 left to block. Maybe, yeah, it'd be 5, and she would only be a 4 even after the buff. But I think better maybe. It's a tough one, because if I kneel the dragon, then he has to have tricks to stand it, or he has to leave Dany up. So I think what we'll do is we'll kneel the dragon out. It's just, kneeling dragons is always good.
Let's see what I can summon up.
That's right, it's not a guaranteed Dany. I just assumed it was a guaranteed Dany. But it is 3 in an ever-becoming smaller pile. So what does he have? Maybe 48 cards
Well,
left.
as they can see, I drew 2 cards that were not characters.
Wow.
And the very top card
was
Danny.
Yeah. We had to
So-
assume he was getting Danny there. I don't consider that a lucky play on his part. I consider that a well-reasoned play. Wait a little bit longer. Thin that deck out a little bit. He knows he has 3 in there. The likelihood is very high he'll hit that card.
Let's draw.
So I'm sitting on these.
So I drew those up. Ideally, I'd like to be able to do something like that. Let's see how much money we get. 4, 6, money. 7, 8, 9, effective, which is not quite enough for that.
This is why Fire and Blood, I think, is an absolute must-play for Targaryen Danny decks, because the game was over. Danny's dead, but she is back. and now suddenly the game has shifted from, it's well in hand, to, I don't know how I win this one.
We will Fealty and Illyrio's Estate to play Danny for 5.
Uh-huh. She's good.
And that will be my marshalling.
All right. So I only have 4. I don't have as many resources as I might like to play with. I do have that now, so I'm up to 5, which is pretty magical for this deck. 5 and 6 are big numbers to have. I'm going to go ahead and milk Danny, mainly because of the insight. I don't want him to draw a lot of cards. I know it doesn't remove the other stuff that she gets, but getting rid of insight could be really strong for me. But I have to think about Wildfire. His board is getting pretty big. A Wildfire leaves him with a tough choice in that he probably doesn't want to kill Jorah, because he can keep looping Jorah. He doesn't want to kill Drogon. He doesn't want to kill Littlefinger. He doesn't want to kill Danny. But he will have to kill one. Probably Jorah, leaving him with a really good board against an okay board of mine. The question is, he already has 5 cards in hand. He saved back a gold. He could easily have 6 cards going into the next turn. He could have 3 characters. A Wildfire potentially does nothing for me. So I think I am going to play a guy to have more resources for next turn in case I draw a Rob or an Eddard. Or I just need Claim Soak. Okay. Carry on, sir.
Okay.
I only have 1 card left, and it is that card.
So, this is very interesting. I think I will start with my usual play of the Braided Warriors coming at you for 3 military.
Yep. And blocking with Arya is not great. I think I will just have to say unopposed. And then I have a tough choice. I think I lose the Informant because, like I said, I really do need the resources at this point.
Okay.
Assuming I can draw any useful cards.
So I'm pretty happy with that. So now, I think I want to do a power challenge with Littlefinger.
Okay. Yeah, I'm in a tough spot here. I feel like I almost have to defend with Caitlyn. I'm not sure I have another choice there. So I will defend with Caitlyn so that he cannot. I lose the challenge, but I'm okay with that. I could have thrown him in as well, but I really would like another attacker.
So now do I want to get rid of his solitary remaining card?
Dun, 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 dun.
That means that he will be able to intrigue me, but I do have 5 cards in hand. It also means, well, he'll get an unopposed military anyway if he wants it. Can win a power if he wants to. It's always the question of, would I rather hurt my opponent or save myself? I think what I will do is I will do an intrigue.
Okay.
For 4.
Intriguing for 4. That's going to be unopposed. Toss away my last remaining card.
I will also Tears of Bliss, Arya.
That's more difficult. I do have the dupe, so I'll be able to save, but I will lose the military icon after that. So that's
Your challenges.
upsetting.
He also gets a Renown and a Corruption.
Okay. Let's
Betrayal, that's what it's called.
go with, you have 4 in hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, you're at 7, 8. You would go to 9 with that. That's kind of difficult. Let's do an intrigue with her. I'm less worried about Dracarys now because he's out of resources, first of all. But second of all, the target is Arya, so.
So I think that this is where I block because, yeah, that's definitely the way to do it. So she will block and win that challenge, which gives her a Renown because of the dragon.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'll do. Actually, I think military is smarter here. He may just kill the loyalist outright, and if he doesn't, the braided warriors isn't bad to kill. So I'll military. I will stealth Drogon.
Sure. We will kill.
All right, so it's unopposed then.
Yeah.
Claim, and I have no keywords.
Yeah, I don't think we mind losing the braided warriors at this point.
All right. And this is an interesting question. Let's have a trick here. Even if he stands Daenerys, she doesn't reduce him. So I am going to power challenge. It's a little bit risky. If he has a trick, it could be pretty bad for me, but I think it's okay.
I will just block.
Okay.
So it is 1 off my house.
And then I believe I get dominance.
You do.
And I have to kill the dupe.
Mm-hmm.
She loses a military icon. Not a lot of military icons for me.
No. How much power are you at?
I'm at 9.
Okay, I'm at 8.
But it's a pretty precarious 9. I don't feel great about it.
Sure. Yep.
His board isn't that wildfireable anymore. He's got a bunch of cards in hand. I have none. It's not a good time to wildfire when you have nothing in hand. Your opponent has piles of cards. Oftentimes the situation will be worse.
So this is where I realize
I think that's a reasonable choice.
this should be a different plot. This should be a plot that would pretty obviously help me finish out my board position here. As it stands, I think I want to do this. The choice, that's not actually that bad right here. Let me look at my hand. Yeah, it would allow me to play even more cards down. But do I really want that at this point? I think that this is probably the better choice. We'll see.
All right.
Yep, that ended up being pretty good for me.
Yeah, that sure is. Again, I'm going to have to make him go first so that I have some flexibility with the Plaza Punishment.
I'll have your plot go off.
Well, Neil Danny, knowing she's going to stand up at the worst
Get
possible
a big old
moment.
stand
That
token.
was the biggest standing token I've ever seen. All right.
And we will draw.
We will.
Okay, interesting.
These two.
I got another one of those, but that is the very interesting card. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gold. So I think my options are, do I want to do something like that or something like that? I'm leaning towards this. It might really just clench my position and allow me to pull even further ahead. The benefit of these is definitely you get more bodies on the board, but I'm expecting at some point there will be a wildfire. So I think I want to hold back, and I will use my reducer and my fealty and play Drogo for 4.
Oh, Nelly.
Go ahead.
That's a tough one. Boy, I was in a bad spot. I was looking at my hand and thinking, maybe I have a chance. I don't think I do. We'll go ahead and do Summer. Go in here. I'll get somebody. I don't know. It's a really hard choice between getting Bran or Bran. I'm going to go for Bran. And then I will have to decide whether I want to reduce him or not to play him. He's going to be doing 2 military. So I think he's going to die anyway here. Okay. Is he going to die? Yeah. Nope, I have one back. Okay. Yeah, that's it for me.
Okay.
Neil, I have a military icon now.
Yeah, you do. I'm worried about the amount of power that he has.
You don't need to worry about that.
Because if the game goes long, I just kill his board and win.
Yes.
If he is able to rush enough power, then potentially he makes it in under the wire. And I do not win. But
So the way I'm evaluating this game is you have a pretty easy win because you have renowned guys, right? So you're going to get one more from him, a couple probably from him, a couple from her over the next 2 turns. I think in 2 turns you win pretty easily. So it's really a question of, do you think I can acquire enough power to win in 2 turns?
it's possible if I go too aggressive
Possibly. Yeah.
and allow him a lot of unopposed challenges. So we're going to start with Drogon doing a military.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for me. He's got gold back. He's got standing. Like, there's just so many different things he could do. If I give him all unopposed challenges, he's going to be able to pick up 3 power here with these 3. That takes him to 11. 3 unopposed challenges plus down would be a win straight up this turn. Opposing a challenge does very little for me. I'm going to leave this one unopposed and kill him. But I'm looking at this and thinking, Neil, I think I was going to have to make some large errors, or my deck is going to have to do some amazing things.
Yep, we're on video, so I don't really want to make any large errors. I think that next...
So this is sometimes something I will do with my opponent, to say something like that, and then they get a little bit tight. Right? Like, oh, really? So this is my game to lose now? Uh-oh. It's just a little mind game you can play with your opponent. They're probably still going to beat you, but you never know. Maybe it causes them to make an error under pressure.
Yeah, so that's how we do it. We're going to do military with Drogo.
Okay. I'll block it and buff him by 3.
Okay. I will intrigue.
Okay. That's unfortunate for me. There's nothing I can do about that. Blocking it doesn't do anything. I also want to have the power available. So I'm going to say unopposed. And hope he doesn't have another Tears. Do you have anything?
Discard that card. No, I do not.
It is Ed.
Ah,
So,
I'm glad I did that.
yeah, that was a big card to potentially have. I didn't have a way
I
to
also get the
defend that, though.
renown there.
Yeah.
Then
6, 8, 9, 10, 11.
see, that would get me 2 more. That wouldn't be enough. So I will power with the Loyalist.
4, 1. Interesting. So I'm in a tough spot here because he's going to be able to stand somebody. So I'm going to declare a challenge, stealth somebody, and then he stands somebody else and he blocks the power. And so I can't actually win a power challenge on my turn. So I think the answer is to block with Caitlyn to make sure he can't Dracarys, because he could just stand a dragon and Dracarys. So we're going to block with Kate. Well, okay, let's stop there because we do have Bran. So he can't actually Dracarys because we can prevent that. So do we just let that go? I don't think we want to give him 2 power though. We're kind of in a tough spot. So maybe we do win it. Boy, that's a hard decision. 6. I think this is a no-win deal. I'll go with her just to stop any. No.
This is great.
This is good video, I know. Man, this is a really good, accurate representation of how I play Thrones when I get in a bad spot. So many possible decisions. So, like, I'm looking at this, and I'm thinking, okay, I can't let him win it, so I can't let it be unopposed. If I could block with Arya to try to set up a potential intrigue with Caitlyn, but he could just stand Dany. So I think we just oppose it, move on, walk away.
Your challenges.
Yeah, I don't think we have any challenges, unfortunately, because Arya doesn't have her military anymore.
No.
And even if she did, I could stealth the guy, and then he would just stand somebody else up, potentially getting a renown off of it. So I think we just say I pass my challenge actions. Do you have any challenge actions?
Yeah, I guess. Well, no, I'm fine.
Okay, then I'll pass challenges and we're done.
Yep, I get Dom because I have 4, 5.
Yep. Mm-hmm. I'm in a weird spot here where he has a much bigger board than me. I guess not much bigger. One bigger. It feels much bigger. And I Wildfire kind of wrecks him because he can only keep Drogo, Dany, and then if he gets rid of Jorah, he loses 2 power, which is kind of big. Or he loses Littlefinger, and Jorah would die soon. The problem is I have 5 guys I actually like. If I were to Wildfire here, I would probably have to give up Arya. I don't like any of this. I don't like anything about this game now, Neil.
I'm glad I've done that.
I don't think I have anything.
I think we do this and see if it is at all useful.
Guess we're going to do that, and we'll see how it plays out. But this is not a great spot for Wildfire. He has a lot of cards in his hand. What did you play?
I played Rebuilding.
Oh, interesting.
Which I now realize should have been Confiscation.
Definitely. That's funny. Okay.
So, who's first player?
It's going to be you.
Okay. I'll have Wildfire go off first, I suppose. You choose which characters you're keeping first.
The first player chooses, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah, you're right. So I'm definitely not sure what I'm keeping.
I feel the same way.
like to keep that. Yeah, I think we keep these 3, and I'm going to kill these off.
Okay, so he's at 9, 10, 11, 12. He only needs 3 power to win.
Yeah, so I wanted to keep that renown. I wanted to keep that power. I want to keep that power.
And if he has Waking the Dragon, he can just bring, or I guess it's Fire and Blood, he can bring back Drogon immediately into play and probably win on his turn.
That is my thought
He has
process.
a ton of strength out there. No matter what I do, I'm not going to be left with much strength. These 2 are obvious. And then it's between these 3. Which one do I keep? I'm not sure any of them actually matters at this point. I think I'll keep Arya. If I get lucky and draw one of the 2 other copies, she becomes substantially better. I lose all military presence, though, which makes it really easy for him to win in military, but I'm not in a good spot here.
Now I'm going to rebuild.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm going to choose 3 from my discard pile. And I believe that 3 I'm going to take are just Dracarys, Fire and Blood, and Waking the Dragon.
Seems reasonable.
Shuffle them back in, see if I can draw them immediately.
I'll move to my draw step. Got these 2, and we'll see how it pans out.
Cut if you like.
No thanks, sir.
Draw 2. I got those 2. One of those is a very good draw.
I like the wry smile on his face. This game was over before. It's really over now.
So I count 6 gold. I've got a dupe for Drogo. I've got a seal of the hand for him.
Oh, that's
which is
not
what
bad.
I was smiling about.
That's not too bad. Oh, Jesus.
And
So you're at 9, 10, 11, 12. So you win. I don't have any military icons. He does 2 military challenge. Well, he does 2 militaries and he just wins off of that.
I was going to play that as well.
All right.
And there it is.
Good game. So
Good game.
What's very interesting about this game is I was able to kill Dany early. I was in great shape to really shift into power grabbing mode and just win the game before you could get Dany back. How many power grabbing cards did I play, Neil?
Very, very few.
0.
No.
So what happened is I ended up getting a lot of great support cards, but I didn't get the Neds, the Knight of Flowers, the Randy Tarley, the Robb Stark. So I have a total of 8 power grabbing cards. I saw the Knight of Flowers and you pulled them. Great pull. I didn't have the resources for Ed and it was way late anyway. But really on that turn, I had about a 2-turn, 3-turn window there where had I dropped a power guy and then another power guy, I would have pushed to the brink of victory and made your life very difficult, right?
Yeah.
You would have had to shift into defensive mode and thinking like, I can't give up even 1 power here or I lose. Instead, it was like, okay, I'm treading water, and you're like, here's Dany back. Now Drogo. Now Jorah. And it was like, you went into the power grabbing mode. And I'm sitting there going, well, that's unfortunate. The deck played perfectly. It just didn't close well. So it was an interesting game, I thought.
Yeah, it was definitely an interesting game. I was pretty worried that first turn when Dany bit the dust. But it was better than some games because I pretty much saw it coming. Because ice was telegraphed,
Yep.
I was able to just make as much use of her as I could and just be prepared to go to my plan B and work with what I have, knowing that Dany would go away.
It does make it, also this is a psychological thing where you're less likely to tilt in that spot, right? Because you've known for the whole turn, Dany's dying, the wheels are turning. It's much more difficult to deal with when they just go, boom, put to the sword. And you're like, darn it. And then you have to mentally regroup, having all that time to say, like, I know I have this option, this option, and this option. I'll be okay. It's gonna be fine.
Yeah, it definitely lets you stay more calm, which you need to do. And yeah, even that first turn of having her on the board, and I drew, I think, 3 times off of Insight.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I have 4 cards in my hand at the end.
Yeah.
He has 2, so that really did make a difference with giving me options for the whole game to come.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was a very interesting game where I thought I was going to have it won, but couldn't close it out. And like you said, you got a lot of options off Dany, and she came back to win the game. So smart deck building on Neil's part to know that if Dany dies, you got to have a way to get her back.
So thanks for watching another one of our live playthroughs or in-person playthroughs. And hopefully we'll see you again next time.